I think we should simply move on and give the floor to myself, and then there will be some time for questions. Since we're running over time, I will only take 5 minutes, since I'm also probably the most irrelevant person for this gathering, since I will not be speaking about this program, but it's probably nice to have a slight distraction from what we're all focused on. Because I'm not working with clients, I'm a professor of law, so I'm in the kitchen. Very often I'm on the design side. So what I want to speak about, and what Laszlo kindly asked me to do, is to speak about the design and some problems that arose in the context of the Maltese investor program, which it relates to granting citizenship of the Maltese Republic, and which has been an overwhelming success. But that success was not achieved without some problems on the way. So what were those problems? How those problems were solved? This is the core message of my talk today. And I was then the counsel of the Maltese government to help them negotiate with the European Union about about the European Union's involvement in trying to block Malta from doing what it was actually doing. So let's give a general context to all what we are speaking about. There are more than 90 programs in the world today. So we are focusing on Europe, but we should also keep in mind that there are plenty of programs in the Pacific. There are plenty of programs in Africa, actually. There are plenty of programs in the Americas, especially in the Caribbean. So we are in an overcrowded field. But this overcrowded field actually always plays in favor of Europe, especially in favor of the countries like Malta, because they do things differently. So what kind of programs do we have? And here I'm speaking both about the residence and citizenship programs. There are programs that sell you fake things. Let's just be frank about it. So if someone offers you the citizenship of the Marshall Islands, which is one of the best citizenships in the world, of course, because it gives you an unlimited access to the US labor market and to the US residency, and those passports are sold, this is a fake program. So the consular services of the Marshall Islands work in such a way that they actually do sell passports, but those passports are never renewed because you never actually become a citizen. So fake programs are a huge problem. There are plenty of programs which don't actually work in your favor in connection with the country. So if you are buying a citizenship of Vanuatu, you cannot travel with it, you will not settle there, and it's not really a great country. The same with Tanzania. So those programs only work as bridges. So then you would ask, who would buy those things? And the answer is very simple, the Chinese. Because the Chinese, in order to settle in Hong Kong, need to be foreigners. As a non-foreigner, as a mainland Chinese, you need to meet absolutely different requirements for Hong Kong settlement compared with people from other places. So if you're a Chinese, the passport of Vanuatu or a permanent residence card of Tanzania is the only entry ticket to that forbidden part of your own territory, actually. So those programs are kind of very different from what proper countries and what proper programs offer. So it's impossible to compare Tanzania, which is a non-destination. It's Hong Kong that is a destination, with Malta that is actually offering a genuine program that enables investors to move in the country should they so want. There are also programs which are unwanted. And this is something that is often forgotten, because some governments want to use this kind of programs to get rid of those they dislike from among their population. And the best example are the Comoros Islands. So if you are in Dubai and you govern one of those relatively wealthy places, and someone is criticizing you, what is the best way to get rid of that person? You buy that person a Comoros passport directly from the Comoros, annul his whatever nationality he has, or of course the nationality of your place, since you are the sovereign, and then you are fully in compliance with international law, because international law prohibits, of course, the creation of stateless persons. And you create a Comoran citizen and then deport that newly created African to the Comores. The Comores sell thousands and thousands of passports like this. So this is just to give you a general overview of what happens besides what we're speaking about. It's a very, 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 very diverse environment with plenty of interesting stories to tell. And then so this is one view, whether the program is fake, whether the program is wanted, whether the program is genuinely offered by a good country. Another approach to these programs would be to see whether they actually generate any profit. And there are plenty of programs that supposedly most likely work at a loss. The Hungarian program is a great example. So to justify the Hungarian program, it's very difficult because the guaranteed interest on the program is higher than the general interest which an ordinary buyer of the bonds will get. Another type of the programs would be kind of running even at zero. That's the UK program. So their main problem is not that people don't invest. Their problem is that even the World Bank tells us most likely they don't gain anything from their program. So then the question arises, why do they keep it at all? And then there are also programs that generate profit. And these are the Maltese programs. So in this sense, Malta is always on the positive side of all the possible equations that we can possibly outline. And then Malta, not any other country, not Austria, which is intransparent, not the UK, which doesn't generate the profit, not Hungary that generates a loss, was a subject of the attacks of the European Union when it introduced its citizenship program. So it's kind of puzzling that Malta was the only state that was criticized in the business where Malta was actually performing the best compared with all the other actors. And that's when I got a phone call from the Attorney General of Malta in my office in the Netherlands, and the Attorney General asked me, so what do they want from us? You have studied this. And my answer was, Mr. Grek, I have no clue, because having read the law, having looked at the program, I can only say that everything is tip-top. The country is performing wonderfully. The program is much better than the majority of others I studied. So there is actually no problem with your program. And there was a problem, it seems. But the problem was with the way how the European Union interpreted its own law for political reasons. So we're speaking about the end of 2013, the beginning of 2014 now. And some Latvian nationalists in the European Parliament, as I later learned, were very much afraid that the Latvian government will start marketing Latvian nationality to those whom they don't want to see in Latvia, to the permanent residents of Latvia, who are not fluent in Latvian, etc., etc., etc. A shortcut would be to say the Russians. So the Latvians didn't want the Russians with Latvian passports who would acquire those passports by investment or otherwise via a program which would be similar to the Maltese. So as a result of very effective lobbying, the European Parliament passed a resolution saying that European citizenship should not be for sale. And of course, Malta, as a member of the European Union, offers European citizenship to all the citizens of Malta. It's automatic. One citizenship is supranational, another citizenship is national, and both are equally important because you cannot be a European citizen without the national level passport, but then with only the national status, you cannot access in full the territory, the labor markets, and all the economic potential of the 27 other member states rather than your own. So both statuses are fundamental. But the conferral rule is very clear. First, you become a national of a country, and then that nationality will bring you the citizenship of the European Union. It's a one-way street. But the European Commission told Malta, although it's a one-way street, we still think that some general rules with regard to European citizenship should possibly be able to restrain the way how you confer your nationality at the national level. And they cited some outdated case law from the ICJ, from the International Court of Justice, from the starting years of the Cold War, which I will not go into. But the trouble is the European Parliament passed that resolution exactly at the moment when the political influence it exercised actually was very welcomed by the Commission, that wanted to show that it was in charge of the true observance and the true oversight of European values. One of the values being citizenship should not be for sale. And then it took the Maltese, and now I count myself as an honorary Maltese. There was also other foreigners who helped the Maltese government, of course, several trips to Brussels to negotiate point by point on the points of law as to how much the European Union can actually control access to the nationality of a member state. And the answer was very clear: the European Union can't. And then as a result of this answer, Malta actually became the only program of investment citizenship in the European Union today that was explicitly endorsed by the European Commission in a widely publicized press release, where the European Commission said, it's actually perfectly okay and we are convinced. And then as a result of this statement and as a result of having the program endorsed, Malta actually saw a huge rise in the amount of investment via its investment citizenship. So the program, correct me if I'm wrong, Your Excellency, but the program functions amazingly well. And one of the reasons why it does is that Malta, the tiniest state of the European Union, actually successfully prevented the abuse of power by one of the European institutions, an omnipotent institution, which is the European Commission, and paved the way for all the other nations, as it were, to have the powers in the domain of citizenship guaranteed from any kind of EU influence. So it was a very welcome move, and I'm extremely proud to have been at least a little bit part of it. So now we have a little bit of, we have a slight question time, and now I'm wearing my moderator hat again. Are there any questions with regard to this program, to the presenters and to the ambassador? Пожалуйста, задавайте вопросы. Если нет вопросов, то мы сразу же отправим.
Один вопрос чисто такой теоретический. Но, как известно, оппозиция Мальты многократно заявляла, что эта программа при приходе к власти будет полностью закрыта, а все лица, которые получили паспорта будут отобраны. Это такой теоретический вопрос. Теперь практически однозначные вопросы. Вот вы сравниваете программу с Венгрией. Но ведь есть определенные серьезные преимущества венгерской программы. Тем не менее, Мальта интересное место, и я хотел бы задать, чтобы мне ответили четко и однозначно на 2-3 вопроса. Практических только вопроса. Сколько времени надо в течение года пребывать на территории Мальты? 7 дней, неделю, больше. Что такое в данном случае ПМЖ Мальты? Это дается каждый год, вы должны приезжать в Мальту, продлевать его. И что такое понятие аренды? Это надо всю жизнь снимать. Допустим, вы на 3-4 году вы прекратили арендовать недвижимость. А какая будет ситуация с ПМЖ? Например, 6-й год, 4-й, 5-й. Вот эти 3 вопроса, они делают эту программу несколько непонятной по сравнению с венгерской программой, где четко и однозначно понятно, что мне очень интересна Мальта. И...
Спасибо большое. Вопрос ясный.
Спасибо.
Спасибо большое. Who would like to give the first go?
So when it comes to residency, basically it's the property needs to be rented or purchased for 5 years, okay? This is an indefinite residence program. So after 5 years, you will continue to retain your residency card. No problem with that. You are also given an opportunity. If after 5 years, say you purchased a property and you wanted to sell your property and to make a profit out of your property, you can sell it, as long as you provide us a suitable address. Remember that as per law, as per European law, to provide you a residency card, I need to have an address. Your address, of course, and where your dependents will be staying. So if I understood, that was one of the questions.
Let's move to Laszlo, if he wants to add.
I think Roddy covered it pretty well. The property requirement by via rental is an obligation for 5 years with the minimum value of 10 or 12,000 euros, period.
Mind, because he asked some 4 or 5 questions. So if he can repeat the questions one after the other, I can answer him, especially on the residency side.
Хорошо, я начну. Вопрос номер 1. А
Okay.
на какой срок дается ПМЖ, то есть вид на жительство на Мальте?
Okay.
Это первый. А второй я дальше буду задавать, чтобы не сбиваться.
Okay, then can I go for the first? I'll give you an answer for the first question, okay? So, the permanent card is forever. There is no expiry. So, if you get a residency card in Malta, you will retain the residency card forever.
Let's move to Anton now, because one of your questions was about the comparison between Hungary and
Да, спасибо за вопрос. В принципе, согласно правилам, не обязательно, я так понимаю, находиться на территории Мальты по времени, да, и если мы говорим о том, что вы получаете ВНЖ в Венгрии, там, в принципе, если вы хотите там стать резидентом, там надо проводить 183 дня. Если вам говорят, что не нужно, это не совсем корректно. Поэтому здесь преимущество, то, которое я говорил, что время присутствия для именно налогового резидентства, оно не требуется на Мальте. Это для нас, как для налоговых консультантов и для клиентов, у которых есть некоторые ограничения по присутствию в третьих странах, в другой стране, где у них есть ВНЖ, это довольно-таки серьезное преимущество. Наверное, вот с налоговой точки зрения я так отвечу.
Another question was about the withdrawals of citizenships which were granted by the current government. And that's a tricky question. But first I would like to make a parallel point with regard to Maltese approach to tax residence. It's exactly the same as Maltese approach to residence under the IIP, which is the Investment Citizenship Program. So you need to be in Malta for 0 days. And then your residence is not presence, it's legal residence. So under the law of Malta and under the law of the European Union, there is a clear difference between the two. So if you read the law on the IIP, the Maltese Investment Citizenship, the law says you need to be a resident for a year. That residence is legal residence, it's not presence in the country. It has nothing to do with being on Malta. Now, so just a clarification. Now, with regard to the Maltese passports being withdrawn, fortunately for those who got the passports, this is impossible under European law, because European law, as it stands, cannot limit the discretion of the member states to issue passports and to make citizens, but it protects the right to citizenship held by those who are already citizens. So once the new government in Malta, imagine hypothetically, starts considering the withdrawal of citizenships, that's when real problems will start with the European Commission, and all the leading citizenship lawyers, of course, will be on the European Commission side, because the main principle of European law is the protection of the individual, not the protection of the state per se. So while European law can limit the state, this limiting the state always happens in the interest of the individual. That's why the European law could not limit Malta in selling the passports, but it can limit Malta in withdrawing the passports sold.
And if I may add, because reference was made to taxes as well, no tax will be paid unless monetary values or basically income is generated and remitted in Malta. So if you have someone who is residing in Malta and is not working in Malta, there are no taxes to be paid and he's making money elsewhere. The program doesn't make you sort of eligible that you pay taxes in Malta. You will only pay taxes in Malta if you are remitting your income in Malta or you work in Malta. That is the only time you pay taxes.
We have 1 more minute, probably, if someone else wants to ask a question. If not, then we go back to you. We go back to you.
Скажите, я правильно понял, что надо каждый год в течение 7 дней это было находиться непосредственно на Мальте? Это первый год, второй, третий, четвертый, пятый, шестой и так далее. В течение 5 лет я правильно понял, что это надо обязательно быть 7 дней, не менее. Давайте это уточним.
When it comes to residency, I mean, the good thing about the program is that once you are provided a residency card for your family, for yourself, and a certificate, you don't need to stay in Malta, and you will still retain residency. It depends on what you are aiming. If you are buying the residency card with the intention then of applying for long-term residency, and your intention is that, then yes, then you would need to stay in Malta, but to apply for long-term residency, which is a totally different thing. But when it comes to the residency program, for you to have the residency card and travel throughout all the Schengen countries, you don't need to stay in Malta. Absolutely. What you need to provide us is what we require: a residency, a health insurance, and you purchase the government stocks. Apart from that, you can stay outside of Malta for 350 days, and then you just come for your holidays. You still maintain your residency card.
Позвольте повторить то же самое по-русски. Программа не подразумевает то, что вы обязаны проводить какое-то время на Мальте физически. В этом плане резидентство по мальтийскому праву значит что-то абсолютно иное по сравнению с жизнью в стране. То есть то, что вы сказали, 7 дней каждый год на Мальте, это неверная интерпретация программы. Программа позволяет вам получить постоянный вид на жительство на Мальте, и этот постоянный вид на жительство не связан с тем, желаете вы или нет провести сколько-то часов, сколько-то дней или сколько-то месяцев на Мальте каждый год. Это ваше решение. Ladies and gentlemen, let's have a short coffee break until 15 past. 15 past.